Welcome back! So what has actually changed in all that time? Well, I still have a mop top for my hair, I have two PlayStations now, a PSP, yes, the PSP video is coming, please just be patient, and some new art on this wall. But most importantly, I have a semi-functional game engine for the PlayStation 1, which I have huge plans for, so let's talk about that. You see, during all this time I wasn't here, I actually finished my school, and my school required some finals for me, like a final thesis. It had to be anything IT related. Well, so I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone, if we don't mention the fact that I will be killing an already dead thing, but that's... no. So after class I went to my teacher and the conversation went a little bit like this. Oh my god, it's him again. Linus Torvald, please save my soul. So yeah, hello, you know how we have to do like this extreme massive thesis, IT related, programming something, writing at the thesis, you know, right? Yeah, you mean the one we have to do in like a year and a half? So I was thinking, oh my god, do you know the PlayStation 1? Yeah? Well, it would be totally crazy if some student was to write a game engine for this. No, why would you do something like that? No one even uses it anymore. Why would I let you do that? Because I have 10 million power in Rise of Kingdoms. And there I went, yapping for a solid 20 minutes, complaining about how the community exists, but it needs easier ways to start programming for the PlayStation. And that's why I think you should allow me to do it. Yeah, sure, whatever, just go. So that way I thought that I would be able to work on the channel and on my school at the same time. So obviously, this is a monumental task for someone who has never written anything for the bare metal of the PlayStation 1 before. And since I only worked with PSNoob or PSYQ before, I had basically zero experience with this. So thankfully there is an entire documentation of the PlayStation called psxfudge, which is taken over by the community from a German homeless guy. I'm not kidding. So, bandwidth from the edit here. This requires some clarification. A German homeless guy means Martin Korth, who's really hard to contact. He's been developing his PS1 stuff lately, but no one has been able to get in touch with him, and the latest news are these. You can find those in the description down below. He needs your support, so if you have bucks to spare, I would send it that way. Thank you. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half. I was learning and programming this engine, and it wouldn't be possible without some occasional help from spicyjpeg and a lot of intense help from Nicholas Noble, who I annoyed all the time with my weird questions. It went a little bit like this. Oh, my vertex indices are messed up. Oh, I know, I'll ask Nicholas. Why aren't these interrupts firing? Better ask Nicholas. Is it spelled psycho or psycho? Nicholas will know. So yeah, it was quite a ride for him as well. So let me show you what I managed up to this point, and then let me show you what comes next. At this point, normally I would start telling you about programming of the engine, how the development went along. But since the last commit is 7 months ago and my commit messages are not great, then I just don't remember any of it. So instead, let me show you something completely different. Let me show you the final product, and let me show you how a programmer might use it. Let's go! So let's go take a look how a programmer might use this engine and what I actually created with it. As you can see, there is an entry point for the user themselves, which is called Game Setup, and all they have to do is initialize and load their first scene. you can see that the scene itself takes an argument. This argument is a bundle file. This bundle file is created by someone named spicyjpeg, who is an amazing person who created many things for the PlayStation 1, and you should go check it out. The bundle basically takes all of the assets you are going to use in your game and bundles them into one file which can be loaded at once from the CD. So, if we go take a look at the scene's code itself, you can see that it's quite simple. It works a lot like Unity, meaning there is a scene, game object and component hierarchy. So let's go take a look at the scene setup function. You can see that there is an object which we create at the position 100x, 100y and 0z. The engine is capable of making 3D scenes, but it's very limited in that regard for now, so we are going to make a 2D scene. Then you can see that we are creating a component, namely a sprite component for our game object, and it's going to be a textured sprite. Next, we are taking a texture from the bundle, which we can get from the parent class, which is the scene, and assigning it to the sprite. Then we can see that we are adding a component, which is the sprite, to our game object, and last but not least, we are adding our game object to the scene, using the parent class again. When I was creating this bundle of assets, I even added in a sound file. In this, Fudge bundle is absolutely amazing because it can convert basically any audio type into something the PlayStation can understand. All we need to do is initialize it by taking the scene, using getSound and the name of the sound, which accesses the bundle and loads the sound. Next thing we're doing is we're initializing a controller on the controller port 1, because I created a simple API for controls. You can see that the scene loop is extremely simple. It's just a bunch of if statements. If controller get button up, we move up. We take the object, its position, its y coordinate, and plus plus or minus minus. We do the same for the horizontal axis, and last but not least, when we press the X button, see the get button down, it handles previous states, it plays our sound. So let's compile it and let's go take a look. As you can see in the emulator, we have a moving texture of grass from Minecraft, because of course, and if we press the X button, we play a sound. And of course it's haha because haha. But this on itself is not very impressive. So let me show you what I created using this engine. Using this engine I created a working Tetris clone which we can play. So let's have a quick game. So yeah, it's just Tetris with some nice sounds. You can tell that there is a music implementation and everything works just flawlessly. If you want to learn more about this engine, you can find the link to its GitHub repository in the description down below. But there is some information you need to know, which you will hear later in the video. But the best thing about this is that it works on the original hardware as well, which is harder than you think because it doesn't even work on some emulators. If you want to try out all of the things this engine can do, you can do it in the description down below. But it's not really finished or usable yet. You can make simple games with it and it will work, but you will probably require some guidance for me. So anyone who wants to try it out, just ping me on Discord and I will help you out. I won't be developing it anymore though. The reason for that is that I'm going to rewrite it together with Nicholas Noble under his own framework called Psycho. Our goal is to create something for everyone, which is not just a bad blob of code with typical school project characteristics. But why should you take my word for it? Let's go talk to him. Okay, so you've successfully made it to the last part of the video, which means you don't find this topic absolutely boring. And now, here with me, I have Nicholas Noble, who is the person from the absolutely amusing cameo you've seen a few minutes back. Yes, it's the person who's helped me a lot, who I went crying to a lot, so this is a very big thanks to him, because without him, none of this would be possible. Hello.
Hi, and I've been absolutely happy to help you along this way. That was a very delightful experience for me as well. Yes, I hope that everybody enjoyed that.
The current plan is to clean it up as much as possible. Replace the hardware abstraction layer from my own, which is not very good. And instead of that, use Psycho, which is an amazing, what do you call it? Framework? Library?
I will say framework, yeah.
Framework.
And the hardware abstraction layer is probably the right answer here as well. Yes.
And I'm going to build this engine, rebuild basically this engine on top of that. Even though I would love to fit the entire talk here, it's just not fit for my videos. But if you want to see the entirety of it, you can find it in the description down below. It's more than an hour and it's an amazing listen, because listening to Nicholas, that's something I will be able to do for a long time, because he knows his stuff. So there you have it. This project is going to be big and is going to eat up a lot of my time. That's why I would like to thank everyone who kept supporting me even through this entire year. Especially my Patreons, and especially Jakob's Dancebow, Kogetsa and RetroReversing.com. If you want to support me doing this thing as well, you can join my Patreon in the link down below, because it's going to eat up a lot of my free time, which I should be really spending looking for a job. Also, if you want, you can buy this merch in the description down below. It has my face on it. I swear I'm not a self-centered narcissist. But you can also buy this hoodie as well, which one of you actually won in the New Year's stream. And it is Rippin' RD1 who did the final hit to the Ender Dragon and wins the competition and wins a hoodie. You can also support me through likes, comments and subscribes. We are halfway to the point where I'll have another set piece, so let's get there. Once again, thank you to everyone who's been here over the last year, even though I haven't. So, have a nice one. Goodbye! Tohle je výplňový, tohle je totálně výplňový. Je to prostě velký problém, protože máš PlayStation a pak máš jako to a máš tohle je prostě lepší, jo, a tohle je prostě horší.